Hello, I am Krishnamurthy Pammi. I welcome you to the webinar on Earned Value Management using an example. In this session, we have taken an Agile project as an example. In our Agile project, in the first sprint, we employed one team. The assumption we made here is, if one team works for one sprint, that is going to cost us $4,000. How we derive this value? The number of people in a team multiplied by their hourly rate multiplied by the number of days. In a sprint, we have 10 working days, that is 2 weeks. So, with this calculation, we arrived at planned value. So, planned value per a team, if they work for a sprint, then it is coming to $4,000. In first sprint, we employed one team. That's why 1 into 4,000, that is $4,000. In the second sprint, we employed 3 teams. So 3 into 4,000 is coming to $12,000. In the third sprint, 5 teams, 5 into 4,000 is coming to $20,000. In the fourth sprint, we employed 9 teams. It is coming to $36,000. In the fifth sprint, it is coming to $24,000. In sixth sprint, it is coming to $4,000. This is the planned value. This is what we have budgeted for our project. In the first 4 sprints, we expect our team to develop features. And fifth sprint, they will do regression and test sign-off. And sixth sprint, we deploy our solution in production and we provide post-production support. Expected output-wise, in the first sprint, we expect to develop 20 story points worth of work. In the second sprint, we expect or we plan to develop 40 story points worth of work. In third sprint, we plan to develop 60 story points worth of work. In fourth sprint, we expect to develop 80 story points worth of work. We expect that we have a calibration in place where we can calibrate story points across teams. Otherwise, you can as well choose value points where the product owner assigns value points from the value they provide to end customer. So here in total, that is 20 plus 40 plus 60 plus 80, which is coming to 200 story points worth of work. We are planning to develop in the first 4 sprints, and in the 5th sprint we do a regression, and 6th sprint we actually deploy. That is the project example we have taken in our study. Now, if we translate to a graph, it comes to an S-curve. Okay, so on the x-axis, the number of sprints are listed below. On the y-axis, the cumulative planned value is given below. So first sprint is 4,000, so 4,000 is listed below. And the second sprint, because it costs us 12,000, the cumulative value is 16,000. The $16,000 is listed below. In third sprint is costing 20,000, but the cumulative planned value is 36,000. So like this, the cumulative planned value is plotted. And at the end, that means in the 6th sprint, the total cumulative planned value, which we call with a new term called budgeted completion. Budgeted completion means the total planned value for the project is $100,000 US. So that's the project. So here we have plotted sprints on the x-axis and cumulative planned value on the y-axis. Now, what is the situation in front of us at the end of sprint 2? First sprint completed, we planned $4,000, that is the budget planned value, and we expected 20 story points worth of work. After completion of first sprint, we realized or we achieved 20 story points worth of work. That means team completed all the planned features worth of 20 story points worth of work. The actual cost is 5,000. So where is the deviation? In terms of performance output, that means 20 story points worth of work they have estimated for the first sprint, they realized 20 story points or they completed 20 story points worth of work. But only deviation is in the cost, because we wanted to employ certain cost resources, but we could not get that cost resources. That's why we had to go for a higher cost. That's why that it costed us $5,000 in actual instead of the planned value of 4,000. So there is a deviation of $1,000 extra we spent here. In the sprint 2,
we planned $12,000, expect 40 story points worth of work. At the completion of second sprint, only 20 story points worth of work the team completed. That means there's a 50% achievement, 50% completion of the planned work. So 40 instead of 40 story points, only 20 story points worth of work team completed, and $15,000 is what actually we spent out of our pocket. Okay, so this is the situation at the end of sprint 2. Now we're moving to our earned value measures. Planned value at the end of sprint 2. What is planned value? Planned value is cumulative value of the work that is planned to be completed at this point in time, or work that should be done, or authorized budget assigned to schedule work. All the three things point to the same thing. In simple terms, at the end of sprint 1, we planned for $4,000. At the end of sprint 2, we planned for $12,000. Because we are talking about planned value at the end of sprint 2, we have to sum both the things, so it comes to $16,000 US dollars, 4,000 plus 12,000. So the planned value at the end of sprint 2 is $16,000. The earned value. What is earned value? Earned value is whatever planned value of all the work completed or earned at this point in time, or work that has been done. For example, in sprint 1, we planned for $4,000 and we wanted 20 story points worth of work, and we got 20 story points worth of work. That means 100% features we earned or we completed. So the earned value is 100% of the planned value, which is $4,000. When it comes to second sprint, we planned for $12,000 and 40 story points worth of work is what is expected, but team completed 20 story points worth of work. That means team completed only 50% of what we planned. So that's why we earned or we completed 50% of the planned value. That means 50% of the 12,000, which is 6,000. Again, friends, I want to repeat, the earned value is the planned value of all the work that is completed at this point in time. So in the first sprint, 100% we completed. So 100% work we completed. So 100% of the planned value is 4,000. In the second sprint, only 50% of the story points we achieved. Means 20 story points is what we got, but 40 story points worth of work is what we expected or we planned. So 50% completed. So 50% of the 12,000, which is actually 6,000. So the earned value is, for the first sprint we got $4,000. For the second sprint we got $6,000. So the earned value is $10,000. Now the third feature is actual cost. The actual cost is at the end of sprint 2, what is the amount that we actually spent from our pocket. At the end of sprint 1, we spent $5,000. At the end of sprint 2, we spent $15,000. So the total actual cost spent at the end of sprint 2 is 5,000 plus 15,000, which gives you $20,000. So this is what is actual cost. Let's now get into variance analysis. Now we are just plotting, okay? The green bar shows earned value. Just now we discussed that earned value is $10,000. The planned value is blue bar, 16,000 at the end of sprint 2, and the actual cost is 20,000. So the same thing is magnified here on the right hand side and shown. So at the end of sprint 2, the red bar shows actual cost is 20,000, planned value is 16,000, earned value is 10,000. That's what the earned value, planned value, actual costs are shown. Just now we calculated in our Agile project example, and that are depicted in the graph. In the graph, on the y-axis, we have cumulative value. On the x-axis, we have sprints, number of sprints. Now, we are now going to talk about another new term called schedule variance. What is schedule variance? See, The schedule variance is the amount by which the project is ahead or behind the planned delivery date. The amount by which the project is ahead or behind the planned delivery date. If schedule variance is negative, this means that the activity is behind the schedule. If schedule variance is positive, this means that activity is ahead of the schedule. Okay, in our scenario, if you see, what we have earned at this point in time is $10,000. What we have planned, $16,000. So $10,000 is what we have earned against the plan of $16,000. The schedule variance is earned value minus planned value, which is 10,000 minus 16,000, which is equal to minus 6,000. Because we got minus 6,000, it means that we are behind the schedule. So if you take our actual example here, 20 story points worth of work is what we completed. That means 50% is what we have earned. That means another 50% is still remaining. So out of $12,000, only $6,000 is what we have earned. Another $6,000 we are yet to complete. So this is what is schedule variance is telling. The project is behind the schedule by 6,000. See the beauty of earned value management. Here, instead of telling, look, I planned for 20 story points, or I planned for 5 stories or 6 stories, out of which I completed 3 stories, it's not talking like this. It is expressing whether the project is ahead of the schedule or behind the schedule in terms of money. In terms of money, it is integrating scope, schedule and cost. So schedule variance is saying that, we are behind the schedule by 6,000. Let us now talk another term called cost variance. It says the amount of budget deficit or surplus at any given point in time. Here we are at the end of sprint 2. So the formula for calculating cost variance is earned value minus actual cost. So here it is coming to 10,000. See, this is what is earned value. This is what is actual cost. So 10,000 minus 20,000, which is actually minus 10,000. So friends, because cost variance is negative, we are actually having overrun. So in our example, at the end of sprint 2, we are having overrun here of $10,000. Now, we are getting into performance indexes. Okay, the first performance index is schedule performance index. The schedule performance index says the scope run rate. That means rate at which the planned scope is being accomplished. Okay, so if you see here, earned value means what we have achieved so far. Earned value is what we completed so far. So AB, if you see the green bar here, AB, the cumulative cost here, AB is what we have completed. Whereas AC is what we have planned. So we achieved AB out of AC, because AC in the y-axis says the planned value. AB on the y-axis is the earned value. So AB by AC, that means earned value by planned value, is what the scope run rate we achieved. So my dear friends, what I wanted to convey is scope run rate. That means the rate at which the planned scope is being accomplished is earned value by planned value. That's why scope performance index is earned value by planned value. So in our example, it says our earned value is 10,000, our planned value is 16,000, which comes to 0.625, that is 0.63, and which is less than 1. So because 0.63 is less than 1, that means less scope is accomplished than planned. So the rate at which the planned scope is accomplished or completed is 63%. So at the end of sprint 2, 63% of the scope is completed. Look at the beauty of the terms earned value management or earned value analysis is throwing at us. It is, first of all, it is telling, it is integrating scope, time, cost into money terms. Second, it is explaining the scope or the scope completion in percentage terms and money terms. So at the end of sprint 2, 63% of work is completed. Nobody can deny this. It is a fact. It's a data point. Okay, let's talk about cost performance index. The cost performance index is, if you see here, AB is the amount of work I completed. That means I completed earned value worth of work against the cost I spent of AD. That means AB is the earned value, AD is my actual cost. So I completed earned value worth of work, that is AB, which is $10,000, out of what I spent, that is AD, which is my actual cost. So AB, which is my earned value, by AD, which is my actual cost. So I realized, or I completed $10,000 worth of work out of what I spent, 20,000. So cost performance index or cost run rate says cost efficiency of budget resources expressed as a ratio of earned value to the planned value. So CPI, cost performance index, is equal to AB, which is earned value, by AD, actual cost, which is equal to AB by AC. In our example, our earned value is 10,000 and our actual cost is 20,000. So CPI is equal to 10,000 by 20,000, which is equal to 0.5 and which is less than 1. Because it is less than 1, we are over the budget. So if you look at the term 0.5, what it signifies? It is telling a beautiful meaning. What it says, for every $1 spent by the sponsor into the project, he is getting 50 cents worth of work value back. Look at the beauty of this term. For every $1 spent by sponsor into the project, he is getting 50 cents worth of work back. Look at the beauty of this sentence. It is giving a big message in a very crisp and short form, and where to act, how to act, and it is also telling the project status. The project status is no more red, green, yellow. It is just saying 50 cents of worth the sponsor is getting for every $1 the sponsor is putting into the project. That's what is cost performance index talking about. Now, how are we doing at the end of sprint 2? Okay, just let us summarize what we have understood so far. It says budget at completion is $100,000. That means total planned value for the project is $100,000. Planned value at the end of sprint 2, that is planned value of the work that is planned to be completed at the end of sprint 2 is 16,000. How we arrived it? We added the planned value for sprint 1 and sprint 2. Earned value, what we have earned or what we have completed, the budgeted value for the completed work. Earned value for the work that is completed. So earned means completed. So for the completed work, what is the budgeted value? So earned value is, it is earned value of the work that has been completed. So we basically understood in our example as $10,000. Now, how much cost we spent out of our pocket? It is 20,000. Out of the 2 sprints, first sprint actual cost and second sprint actual cost, if you add, it gives you $20,000. Now, schedule variance, it says we are behind the schedule by $6,000 worth of work. Look at the beauty of this message. It says the project is behind the schedule by $6,000 worth of work. And cost variance, we are overspending. Cost overrun is $10,000. And the schedule performance index, it says 63% of the planned value is delivered so far. And it says for every $1 spent, that is cost performance index, it says for every $1 spent by the investor is getting value worth of 50 cents. That's why CPI is 0.5. Look at the beauty of the messages, and it is describing the project situation as on today in terms of money or percentages. So anybody can understand, and there is no second thought, there is no subjectivity here. Everything is objectivity. So far, we have understood where are we today, that is at the end of sprint 2. Now we are going to discuss what our forecast is going to be. Forecasting is all about predicting the future based upon the knowledge we have at this point in time, that is at the end of sprint 2. So we will be talking about estimate at completion and estimate to complete. As you all know, we are at the end of sprint 2 here. You see, at the sprint 2. Now, we plan $100,000 worth of work. Already, our earned value is less. We planned for $16,000 worth of work as of now, but we completed $10,000 worth of work only. What does this mean? If we have to project this work, where we are going to complete, assume that we are going to complete. That means ultimately we have to complete $100,000 worth of work. That is our budgeted completion. Out of which only $10,000 worth of work is what we completed. So to complete remaining $90,000 worth of work, where it takes, assume that our earned value, which is our green line, is pointing to like this. So instead of 6th sprint, probably it is taking to 8th sprint. If we are completing our work by 8th sprint, our actual cost also increases. If we are able to complete $100,000 planned work by 8th sprint instead of 6th sprint, our cost also increases. So the cumulative cost here is estimate at completion. Okay, if we are able to complete this work at this point in time, and the cost here is estimated completion. As of now, we spend actual cost. That means in our example, we have taken $20,000 to complete the work. This is the actual cost. That's why if you see the AC is here. This is estimate to completion. That means actual cost plus estimate to complete is what estimated completion. Okay. Actual cost, which is this, that means is 20,000. If you just span it here, it is actual cost. And if you add the ETC for it, so this is what is ETC here. This is what is ETC. Then this is what is estimated completion. So friends, what is estimated completion? How to calculate it? There are several methods. Okay, there are 4 methods in use, out of which one method we will be most frequently be using. So let us talk about first method. The first method is, boss, today so far as of now I spent $20,000. I completed $10,000 worth of work. That's why my earned value is 10,000 and actual cost is 20,000. Now for the future, I don't know. I want my team to come back and re-estimate the entire remaining part of the work. At the time of my release planning, I assumed certain assumptions and those assumptions are no more valid. So in that scenario, I want my team to come and re-estimate the remaining part of the work using bottom-up estimation. That means we understand all the features required, we divide them into activities, and we estimate duration for each activity, and we assign resources, and ultimately we derive activity-based duration and resource estimates, and then we sum up the cost. So that's where we actually do a re-estimation. So in our example, let us assume that our team does this estimate to completion using bottom-up estimation, and it comes to $130,000. Let us assume that they perform that exercise and it comes to $130,000. Then what is estimated completion? It's very simple. Estimated completion is actual cost spent, because that cost anyway you spent it, okay, and plus estimate to completion. So actual cost is $20,000. Estimate to complete is $130,000. So ultimately it is giving to $150,000. So estimated completion is $150,000. So this is the first method. The second method is, we assume that all future estimate to complete work will be accomplished at the budget rate. For example, boss, what has happened has happened. Okay, I know there is a deviation of $10,000, current deviation, which is actual cost minus earned value. Actual cost is the amount I spent out of my pocket. Earned value is amount of money I achieved or I completed. So my earned value is 10,000. My actual cost here is $20,000. This is what is my actual cost, 20,000, and the green bar here is $10,000. So my current deviation is $10,000. But from now onwards, we have a confidence, our team has confidence that we will complete the work at the planned rate, at the budgeted rate. We have that confidence. If that confidence is there, what we will do? We'll say, okay, what is estimate to completion? Budgeted at completion. That means my $100,000 minus earned value. That means estimate to complete is budgeted completion minus earned value. That means $100,000 minus 10,000. $90,000 worth of work is pending to be completed. Okay. So this $90,000 work, the team is feeling that they can complete at the planned rate, at the planned assumptions. So in that situation, actual cost, which is 20,000, plus estimate to complete, which is our $90,000. So it comes down to $110,000. So here, if you understand, the current deviation, which is 10,000, that is the actual cost 20,000, but we earned only 10,000. That means 20,000 minus 10,000, $10,000 worth of work is what the deviation, and that deviation is going to continue. The remaining part of the work will be completing on the planned or budgeted assumptions or levers. That's why we are saying, guys, there are $90,000 worth of work is estimate to complete. That money plus already spent $20,000 is actually $110,000. So that's what is estimated completion. So in this assumption, in this mode, in this context, we will calculate estimated completion like this. In the third method, which is most used method on the ground, okay, this method assumes that the project has experienced to date whatever rate at which the project is going, the same rate it is going to continue. Okay, that is what is the assumption on the ground. Most probably people will take this method. If no indication is given, people will assume this method. That means whatever rate at which we are completing the work, the same rate will continue. In that scenario, how we will achieve is what estimated completion is talking about. So if you see here, so far I have earned value worth of work. How much I spent? Actual cost. I achieved earned value worth of work. This is my earned value by spending actual cost. How much worth of work I am supposed to achieve? I am supposed to achieve budgeted completion. You look at it, budgeted completion, $100,000 worth of work. This is what I am supposed to achieve. Then what I am supposed to spend there, that is what is estimated cost. So to achieve earned value, so far I spent actual cost. To achieve budgeted completion, I will be spending estimated completion. Now, if you cross multiply, you all must have learned this kind of equations in mathematics. If you cross multiply, earned value into estimated completion is equal to budgeted completion into actual cost. So this earned value, because it is in the multiplication on the left hand side of the equation, if you move it to the right hand side of the equation, it will get converted into divided by. So earned estimated at completion, EAC, is equal to budgeted completion into actual cost divided by earned value. This earned value is coming down from the left side of the bracket to the right side. If you see here, now this AC, BAC into AC by EV. So this into AC, if you put it down, it will be converted into EAC is equal to BAC by earned value by actual cost. But we all know EV by AC is our CPI. So that's why it will get converted into estimated completion is equal to BAC by CPI. We all know that cost performance index is equal to earned value by actual cost. So I repeat, we just did a cross multiplication here. Earned value into estimated completion is equal to budgeted cost BAC into actual cost. So EAC is equal to BAC into AC divided by EV. Now EAC is equal to BAC divided by EV by AC. we all know EV by AC as CPI. So estimated completion is equal to budgeted completion by CPI. Now coming down to our example, $100,000 is what our budgeted completion is. Our CPI in the earlier slides we have calculated as 0.5. So it comes to $200,000. Yeah, that is understandable. When we are running at 50% of the planned cost, if you have to complete the remaining part of the work, it doubles. So estimated completion is $200,000. So we put forward to the management at the end of the sprint too, look, we actually planned for $100,000. We are going with a rate of 50% at this point in time in terms of cost. Now, if you go with the same rate, we actually require $200,000. That means there's an overrun of $100,000. So we ask them for approval. So it's up to the management discretion, and they will direct us about the next steps. Estimated completion by method 4. So far in our earlier example, we have taken cost performance index only. Suppose we have to take schedule performance index also into consideration. If that is what is the context demand is, the formula is estimated completion is equal to actual cost plus BAC minus EV, that means budgeted completion minus earned value, divided by cost performance index into schedule performance index. So this, you can as well say how much weightage we have to give to cost performance index, how much weightage we have to give to schedule performance index. It can also be considered given the context. If nothing is given and the project demands, schedule performance index can also influence estimated completion along with CPI. This is the formula we have to use. So by calculating, we are getting estimated completion as $308,000. So friends, using these 4 methods, we can complete estimated completion. And method 3, which is estimated completion is equal to budgeted completion by CPI. This is the method most commonly we use. So now we are going to talk about another term called variance at completion. Variance at completion is equal to budgeted completion minus estimated completion. That means this is my budgeted completion, but I am completing at estimated completion. So $100,000 is what I have planned at the beginning of my release planning, total work plan, and I am now saying $200,000 is what it requires to complete. So budgeted completion minus estimated completion, 100,000 minus 200,000, which is equal to minus 100,000. So because it is a negative, it is over the planned cost. So variance at completion is minus $100,000. That means we are over the planned cost by $100,000. Look at the another index here is to complete performance index. It is a measure of cost performance that must be achieved with the remaining resources in order to meet a specified management goal. Okay, management comes and says, look, I am not going to award the estimated completion of $200,000. I don't have that reserve or bandwidth. I don't have that budget. What all I have is what I planned. So $100,000 is what I have. This is what is your budgeted cost, and that is what you have. Now you tell me at what run rate you are supposed to complete. You go back and do your math and come back and complete my project. That means it is expressed as the ratio of cost to finish the outstanding work to the budget available. Let us discuss in detail. So to complete performance index is equal to work remaining by funds remaining. So the formula is work remaining. That means so far we completed earned value worth of work out of our budgeted completion. So work remaining is $100,000 worth of work is what we planned, out of which earned value, that is $10,000 worth of work is what we completed. So work remaining is budgeted completion, which is $100,000 minus earned value, which is $10,000, which is actually $90,000. That's what is the work remaining. So $90,000 worth of work is remaining. What is the funds remaining? 2 scenarios. Scenario 1, in case management approves the estimated cost, I go with estimated cost minus actual cost. In case management says, no, we only have budgeted completion worth of work, so you go ahead, you do math and you figure out a different option, then it comes budgeted completion. So this is the budgeted completion minus earned value. So funds remaining can be described in two contexts: budgeted completion minus earned value and estimated completion minus actual cost. If TCPI, to complete performance index, it's like a run rate, ask rate, at what CPI rate we should do our project to meet the goal given by the management. Okay, if it is greater than 1, it is hard to complete. If it's exactly 1, it's same complexity, whatever complexity we are experiencing so far, same complexity. If it is less than 1, it is easy to complete. In our example, we have seen that the management is granting only BAC. It's not going to grant our estimated completion of $200,000. If that is the context, work remaining is $90,000. That means BAC worth of work, $100,000 worth of work is what we planned, out of which earned value worth of work is what we completed. So work remaining is BAC minus EV, which is $90,000. Funds remaining means BAC means budgeted completion worth of work or worth of funds only management is providing us, out of which actual cost amount of money we already spent. That means 100,000 minus 20,000 is 80,000. So the TCPI is, that means to complete performance index is work remaining by funds remaining 90,000 by 80,000, which is 1.125, which is greater than 1. That means it is hard to complete. It's hard to complete. So the team has to accelerate, step up. They need to identify different means. They may have to stretch if within these funds if we have to remain completed. So friends, with this concept, what we have completed so far, we concluded the future predictions. What are those predictions? Estimated completion, the expected total cost of completing all work expressed, that means $200,000. Estimate to complete, that means from now we require $180,000 worth of work. How we arrived at? Our estimated completion is $200,000, which we arrived using method 3. If you deduct the actual cost out of which, that is $20,000, which is actually $180,000. So estimate to complete is $180,000. That means from now we require $180,000. Now variance at completion, we are overrun by $100,000. That is our prediction. To complete performance index, it is a measure of cost performance that must be achieved with the remaining resources in order to meet a specified management goal. So management says, I am asking you to complete within BAC, then the resources have to work harder. So that is 1.125. That is the asking rate of CPI. So friends, what we understood so far is earned value management can equip you with objective measures to learn and track. Number 1, how much work of worth realized for every $1 sponsor is investing into project. We have seen for every $1 the sponsor is investing into the project, he is getting 50 cents back. It's a wonderful message to sponsor. What percentage of planned value is delivered at any given point in time? At the end of the sprint 2, 63% of the planned work we completed. Are we ahead or behind planned value? We are behind the planned value by $6,000. Are we under or over the planned budget? We are overrun by $10,000. How efficiently are we using the time and resources? No, we have to improve our efficiency because time-wise we are behind, cost-wise we are overrun. We need to plan in such a way that we employ low-cost resources and we make sure that we mitigate the cost overrun. Similarly, we have to stretch and so that we can complete the remaining part of the work. And how we'll end up at the end of project if we proceed with the same rate? So we estimated completion, estimate to complete, variance at completion, and to complete performance index. So these are the measures, these are the objective measures earned value management provides us. And using these methods, my dear friends, we can drive our projects towards better return on investment. Believe me, the kind of status reports we are showing, the kind of team discussions we are doing in our day-to-day Scrum meetings or project meetings or portfolio meetings, This kind of terminology, if we can induce, it brings lot of rigor and discipline and focus and common understanding about the project, where the project is and where we need to land and what kind of support required, not only to the team, to the senior management, to every stakeholder in the project. It brings rigor.
So, using earned value management, you can describe today in objective terms. You can predict future in objective terms. It brings objectivity. That means it removes subjectivity. It ensures that all the stakeholders will have the same opinion, same mapping on the project context, because these are numbers and percentages. It certainly can help you improve to take better decisions and thus improve a better return on investment on your project. I thank your interest to learn, and I look forward to bring more such sessions in future. Thank you.